Guys, what's going on? This is Bobby with One More Fitness. And I wanted to talk to you about probably my first mistake I made with training. When I first started getting into training, I wanted to get strong. I wanted to build muscle. And one of my biggest mistakes was, I would say two of my biggest mistakes was like all the supplements I bought. But I'm not going to talk about that. What I want to talk about is just like following magazines from like bodybuild. I would buy bodybuilding magazines. I'd follow those programs, programs on bodybuilding.com. And those programs can work for a certain type of guy, all right? If you're that certain type of guy, then you're probably getting results from it. You're probably happy. Keep doing what you're doing. But if you were like me and you were scrawny and you were, if we're just gonna be real, like you were weak, you weren't very strong at all. Those programs don't really work very well. It didn't really work well for me. And a lot of times, if you're like that, if you're like a skinny guy, you have a hard time building muscle, those programs don't work for you, at least not right now, right? And one of the biggest reasons is because you don't have a good strength base, right? So those high reps, you can't really use a lot of weight because you're so weak, all right? And the other thing is that if you kind of have that body type, you probably don't have the best recovery in the world. Meaning that like when your body recovers from the workouts that you do, that's when you get the best strength gains. That's when you build the most muscle. So like, especially if you're brand new, don't dive into the bodybuilding stuff, all right? Because if you're like me, you're gonna be really disappointed. But what really helped me out, and now that I more know the science of it, it makes a lot of sense. Focus on, instead of doing those like high rep bodybuilding routines with lots of volume, like 3 to 5 sets and reps of 8 to 15, focus on low reps, and for the next maybe like 2-3 months, just focus on getting strong. And once you have that base, those higher reps will be a lot effective. And what really kind of turned me on to this was I read a lot of bodybuilding magazines, and it was like that high volume approach that I just spoke of. But then I discovered this guy called Mike Mentzer, and he had this heavy duty training program where you would just do do 1 or 2 sets per body part, but you do a couple warm-up sets, but that you just do 1 set all out, all right? And what happened is I got really strong, and I started to build muscle in places that I was having a really hard time building muscle, all right? And that really changed a lot of things for me. And soon after that, I realized that you have to get strong first before you kind of do that high rep bodybuilding stuff. And then once you kind of get to that point, it's really beneficial to maintain your strength, to build your strength, to build muscle, even if you're trying to lose weight at the same time, to kind of have both of those in your program. So having a certain days where the reps are gonna be low, you're gonna really push the weight. It's more like strength, and then you have those days where the reps are low, the reps are high. It's more like a bodybuilding routine, all right? So again, if you've been kind of doing those high reps routines from the magazines and you're not really seeing the results you want, focus on getting really strong with the compound lifts. Like think about reps of 3 to 5 for get strong with the bench, the squat, the deadlift, even some lunge variations. And then what I think you'll find is if you go into the more bodybuilding routines, you'll get a lot more benefit of it, all right? And again, the biggest problem is that, if you're doing reps at 8 to 10 reps and you're not very strong, the weight that you can use is the weight that you're using is probably too light to create a big change, or you might be trying to really push heavy weight, but your form is awful, so you're not gonna really stimulate any muscle growth, all right? So focus on getting strong for the next few months, and then you can bump the reps, bump the volume up.